right, well, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to come through and kind of introduce you to the Fusion range. I think you all know Karina.
Yes.
You may not all know me. I'm Gary Patterson. I'm the director of Prova Gourmet North America. I think you've all met Antonio. I think I recognize many of you. I was down here at the Rader show earlier this year. The Fusion range is all new for us, and you won't find anything else out there on the industry that's comparable to this. You'll find cocoa butter that's got color in it. You'll find cocoa butter that's, in different forms, but this has got flavor in it. So we'll talk a little bit, and Karina and I are going to tag team on it. But the basic information is it's a 450 gram tub. This is the way it comes packed. There's 4 to a container. The way the box is going to come to you, instead of it being 4 individual, it's 2 stacked, so it's a little bit narrower case. But and then we've got 3 different flavors. The Fusion Papua New Guinea, which is, you'll see it as P&G sometimes, but Papua New Guinea vanilla, Brazilian coffee, and then we've got rum as well. But we'll go ahead and get into this quick PowerPoint. We want to make sure that you have kind of some working knowledge to be able to talk to customers about it, because it is new. If you were out front with us, there was a lady that was looking to become a customer, and she was looking at the Fusion and was trying to understand it. So I can understand where salespeople might want to have a little bit more knowledge to also talk about it. So we're going to talk about what is Fusion, who are the target customers. With that being said, it's anyone who will buy it, right? Key selling points. What makes Fusion unique, a few facts on it, and we've got some influencers that have some comments as well. Like I said, this presentation, we have it electronically that you can share it with the team. We're also working on putting it together to print and all that, and we'll talk about the selling tools that we have available as well. You'll also find through the social networking, Tristan is our corporate chef over in France. He did these kind of featuring the Fusion range for Easter this year. And it was ahead of our launch, but we wanted to start doing some teases and things like that. So those are some eggs that he made. So, what is Fusion? It's 2 ingredients. It's cocoa butter that's deodorized, and then it's using oil-soluble concentrated flavor to blend in with it. So, if you think about vanilla extract, in the US, it has an SOI, or a standard of identity. It has to have 35% alcohol. So that's where you're going to see, like on the vanilla, it's going to say it's a flavor. It's not because it's anything other than vanilla extractives, but since it's blended with cocoa butter, it can't be called an extract. The only reason the only naming convention that can use extract in vanilla is if it has 35% or greater alcohol. So the US 200, which I think we've got a bottle here, you'll see this is called a flavor. If you compared it to our Provanex, which is our US style vanilla extract, exact same amount of vanilla extractives, since it's alcohol free, it's not considered an extract legally in the US by a naming convention. So the Fusion range, when it comes to the P&G or the Papua New Guinea vanilla, highly concentrated flavor, extracted from nothing other than Papua New Guinea beans. It can't be called an extract because it's not with alcohol. So that's just legal terms. When you're working with chocolate, you need a fat-soluble method of delivering flavor, which Karina can talk a little bit more to. But if you've ever worked with chocolate and you get some water in it, or you're not using a high enough fat content of cream or something like that, it'll seize it up. But you can.
Yes. Hello everyone, it's nice to see you again, and I'm very happy to be talking about this amazing product that as a pastry chef, it's always great to work with new products that are gonna make our lives easier, that they're also gonna make our creativity go wild. So in this case, I made some samples for you because I think cocoa butter has there are so many possibilities in using cocoa butter. Of course, the first thing that we're gonna think is chocolate or ganaches, right? So I made a few samples for you to taste. I think we can. I've already worked with it for a couple of things such as ganaches, glazes. I haven't used it for ice creams, but yeah, as it is fat, then you can basically use it with anything that can emulsion, that can be emulsioned with fat. The flavor is very intense, So as soon as you open the jar, you're gonna find like a beautiful aroma that, of course, it's gonna translate into a delicious flavor. So yeah, I think the possibilities are great. As Gary said, I've never seen or used a cocoa butter that is infused with flavor. I've used it, color cocoa butter, which is great for designs and everything. In this case, I use the same cocoa butter and I mix it with a little bit of dust, gold dust and silver dust, and I made the design, which I would normally do with a cocoa butter with color, but it has already the flavor, so it's good because it will accentuate the flavor of the bonbons. So
Yeah, you know what, could we pull out one of each of those small samples and we'll open it so you can smell it?
yes.
Like I said, it's two simple ingredients, so you're gonna get the aroma immediately from it. There's no sugar added to it, so if you think about bubble gum, you know, when you chew on gum and it loses its flavor, it's actually not losing its flavor, you've dissolved all the sugar out of it. If you take a little bit of sugar and add it back with that piece of spearmint gum, the flavor's gonna come back. So you don't really lose the flavor, you dissolve the sugar. So in this case, the flavor is fairly mild because there's no sugar in there to, you know, bloom it out. But at the proper level, you know, it ends up delivering the flavor. And you'll see, we recommend a 1, 2, 3% usage to deliver the flavor, but we also say it's really up to the end user's intention to the flavor intensity. So Brazilian coffee, it is a single origin. The rum you'll see is quite aromatic in the aroma as well.
Wow, yeah.
It's
very
highly concentrated.
I was surprised, like, I didn't expect that much aroma to be, like, the room where my small workshop, when I opened the coffee one, it was all filled with the coffee flavor. So yeah, the percentage that you need to use to add a delicious and natural flavor is, you know, it's very small. So I think that's
And when you're working with chocolate, you're adding a certain percentage of cocoa butter to it anyway as you're tempering it. So as you use this, if you want to add 2% of this in flavor, you would just take that 2% out in cocoa butter. So you would just, it's a 1-for-1 trade out. This is a caramel chew. We actually did some that we were handing out. We did a coffee caramel chew that was amazing when we were doing these little truffle boxes. We promoted the product at the National Restaurant Show this year. We promoted it at the Summer Fancy Food Show, the ACF convention in New Orleans. We've got Karina that's been posting on it now recently. Nicholas Budamissi out of New Jersey, he's promoting it as well. So we're really working on making sure that people know that we've got this and we're the only ones that have it. And you guys are one of our very first distributors to actually pick it up as well. So who's our target customer? Chocolatiers and chocolate makers are an obvious choice, but I think as you go through glazing, flocking, mousses, anywhere where they're using cocoa butter for in the coatings, dough glaçage, restaurants, this is where I like to talk too on the savory side of things. You know, those restaurants that are doing high-end like sous vide, and they're doing a butter poach on like a lobster tail or a shrimp or a piece of, an octopus, you can use, a teaspoon of this in with it and do that same method. So you don't need like a whole pound of butter to do a sous vide on a tender piece of meat. You can actually do a butter poached scallop or shrimp in sous vide using the cocoa butter. So there's a lot of different ways you can infuse that flavor through a savory technique. Same thing, ice cream makers can use it. I think it's more intriguing for those making vegan ice cream, which this is another way of delivering flavor with fat. But any thoughts you have on?
Yeah, I mean, as I was telling earlier, I think the possibilities are endless. I think since it's a new product, I think as soon as you tell your customers that you have this new product available, they're gonna be intrigued. So I think it's your opportunity to, explain them a few options what they can do with it. But I think, it's a very good quality product, and the chef is gonna be very, I think, intrigued and working with it.
So this would be considered a vegan product?
Yes.
So you can take silken tofu, add that to silken tofu, make a mousse, make a cheesecake,
Absolutely.
make whatever you
Yes.
can with the silken tofu?
Yes.
Yep, it's vegan,
And it's
kosher,
farm.
and par.
It's kosher part.
Kosher farm. Believe.
Kosher parv?
Yeah, it's believe.
Yeah, so it's got, it literally is 2 ingredients, so. This is another one, the Baba Ram, just showing some more of the creativity. A lot of these recipes are up on our website. We could share those with you as well, plus Karina's recipes, as she does post, we make sure we post them on our Instagram account as well, so they can be seen out there. And I know you guys are pretty active on Instagram as well, so. So, some selling points. Time saving, there's no need for infusion. So if you think about how you would take vanilla beans and infuse that flavor into cream, much of the time that takes about 24 hours. If you were making your own extract, it could take months. But this has already got the flavor in there, it's evenly dispersed. We'll talk a little bit about the ways that you can use the fusion range, but it's really easy to use when we see flavoring in one gesture. You don't need to infuse it. You can use it really just as it is. You can, temper the fusion cocoa butter to be that satin texture to blend in, but you can also melt it or shave it and mix it in if you were making a ganache. It can go in with the dry ingredients. You could have it melted already and mix it with your cream and then blend your coffee or your chocolate. So there's a lot of different avenues to be able to use it. The key here is it's a new product, so you need to think about how you can add that flavor in a way that really makes it simple for the end user. And that's the key here. A lot of times adding flavor into anything that's chocolate is a challenge. The speed for which you do it, the method you do it can destroy the whole batch of chocolate. It can make it grainy, it can make it literally seize up. There's a lot of negative attributes.
Yeah, so I was very pleased when I used this. So I made ganache for the 2 bonbons and the macaron, and the shine and the way that it emulsified, because of course it's fat, so it's gonna emulsify perfectly with the in the ganache. I was very pleased to see the beautiful shine, and yes, of course, you save a step. And that's very important when you're working in a kitchen, I
Yeah.
think, 1 or 2 steps sometimes.
Whether you're doing small batches or large batches,
Yes.
this gives you a lot of opportunity. Versatility, as we said, sweet, savory, chocolate, bakery, there's a lot of different ways that this can be used to deliver flavor. And I will talk in another slide, this is not new technology, putting the flavor into cocoa butter. It's been done on the industry side since the 70s. And this is really where Prova Gourmet and Muriel, our president and owner, her grandfather really made his place, or his mark here in the US, selling flavored cocoa butter or vanilla infused cocoa butter to M&M Mars. Adding vanilla to chocolate is a way to help round out those roasted notes. I mean, vanilla has some amazing characteristics that even ground and mixed into seasoning blends, it'll round out those sharp notes, those unbalanced flavors, and that's what this was originally created for, was really for the chocolate industry at large. No aromatic loss over time, meaning that the flavor, the aroma both stay with it. So, it's not like we put sugar in there and it's going to dissolve away. But adding it into an ingredient this way, you don't have to worry about adding moisture to it that could cause it to have a shorter shelf life or create mold or something like that. When we say it's strategic for professionals working in production, if you're doing buttercreams or you're using ganache whipped for a macaroon, this is a way to add flavor to those fillings without having to make it more difficult for yourself, right? No moisture added, as I was saying. This is a fat soluble, so it does give you a better shelf life as well. Clean label, no sugar added. And it really is an innovative way to add flavor into recipes, so it's a unique way to be able to do it. Any questions?
So if I took a lower level of chocolate, it may not have all the notes in it, then I add this to that chocolate, I can enhance that chocolate,
Yeah.
basically step it up.
You certainly can. I mean, if you're adding the vanilla to it, I think it's going to give it some more floral notes, a little bit more depth and flavor. You know, it'll be pretty easy to make it a mocha chocolate with the coffee fusion. And then if you want to give it more of that rum flavor, I mean, that's my favorite aroma out of those. That rum
Yeah.
is just a great smell. So yeah, you can certainly add it. I mean, I think also on the edible side of the world, you know, there's a lot of shops out there that are doing edibles and they're looking for ways to mask those negative attributes in chocolate that they're getting from, you know, the hemp oil or whatever it is they're putting in there. This can also be a way, and I'll tell you, a lot of times the individuals that are working on that side of the business aren't professional chefs. They're taking a passion and an opportunity and they're seizing it. So this may be an opportunity to show them another way to be able to add flavor. Don't.
The cream vanilla.
Yeah. So anyway, that's,
My
How about
boss
for
won't,
baking? How
my
about for
boss
baking?
won't buy me a new one, so.
boss won't buy you a new,
You are your own.
oh,
I have my own.
So if I'm making a croissant, but I want a rum flavored croissant without necessarily soaking it with rum, how will that work in a croissant dough?
I think you can certainly blend it with the butter and add flavor to it as
Yes.
well. Now, just keep in mind, I don't know how much sugar is in a croissant, so we haven't tested that, but in theory, there should be enough sugar to activate that flavor in a croissant dough.
Yeah. Or you can make a filling.
Yeah.
Or an eclair or
Oh, yeah.
a choux or whatever, you can add that to it and create.
Oh,
a-
yes.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea. I hadn't even thought
Yeah,
about
me
with pot of choux.
either.
Yep.
Yeah. I
A lot of applications.
Very interesting.
Yeah, there really is. So, you know, a little bit of history on Prova, as I said, you know, we've got a long-standing history of expertise in not just extracts from vanilla, but cocoa butter as well. It was launched back in 1973, and they've continued to improve the process. You know, it ensures the high quality, consistency, and stability. The way we process it in France, you know, both the flavors and the cocoa butter are made in a plant in Autry, carries the highest level of certification from sanitation and everything else. So, if you didn't know it, Prova is recognized globally as women-owned, French company, and we're always looking at innovation. That's what the little monikers at the bottom mean.
Nice.
You may find also with the US 200, I know you're looking at that, but a lot of times that women-owned can help if you're going into an operation that has government contracts or schools and they don't want alcohol, or they're looking for ways to, you know, demonstrate that they're following, you know, different kind of government kind of tracks and measures for women-owned or minority-owned businesses. This is a good opportunity. This is the New York roll that's all the craze out there. Chef Tristan made this, and I have not had an opportunity to try it, but it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Does fusion cocoa butter need to be tempered? And the answer is no, unless, you know, you're doing certain applications with chocolate. So as I said, there's kind of three different, and you can kind of explain this probably better than me, but I'll take the first approach is, you can take the cocoa butter out of the tub and you can shave it. And you can take that product and blend it or mix it with your cream if you're making a ganache, allow it to melt in with it, coalesce, and then blend it with your chocolate to give you your flavored ganache. If you need to temper it, you can, I think it's 33.1 degrees Celsius, will give you that satin. That's the temperature for which the cocoa butter isn't solid and it isn't melted almost like clarified butter. It's just very creamy. That would be for tempering into chocolate, and then you can also take this product and you can melt it all the way. Meaning you can hold it completely melted almost like clarified butter, and let's say you're making a ganache yet again, you can mix that right in with the cream and then blend that with the chocolate to make your ganache. And it's just a simple way to infuse flavor. I think as chefs get more accustomed to it, they're going to find more and more unique ways to use it. So I'll let you.
Yes, I mean, one thing that I wanted to say is that it's very easy to scrape up the jar or the bucket. What I did, I used to like I use the cocoa butter in two ways for the bonbons and macarons that I did. For the bonbons, I did use it tempered because I wanted to give it that shine and I want to be able to unmold the bonbons. So I did temper for one, but for the filling, for the ganaches, I didn't. So I just scrape a little bit and then in this case, I mix it with the melted chocolate and then I pour the hot liquid and then I emulsify. So it was a very easy way to add flavor. I didn't add any extra steps all the way around, so yeah.
And we probably could pass these around, people could start trying.
Yes. So the gold one is the coffee. I made a mochaccino ganache. Then the macaron is a vanilla ganache using, of course, fusion, and the other one is rum.
And you said you tempered to cover the mold with the luster dust or with
Yeah,
the-
so I mix a little bit of the fusion with gold dust, and then I sprinkle the mold. Then I shell the molds. I could you can also tell the chef that they can add also the cocoa butter to the chocolate to have more flavor. I didn't do that because I was making a huge batch of
Oh, to the
bonbons,
chocolate
so
for the shelling.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So you have the flavor. Yes. So you have the flavor in
Like
the
an extra
design,
pop.
in the chocolate, and in the ganache. And then I use it for the ganache as well. So that's what I.
So is it vegan? Yes. Recommended dosage 2 to 3%, depending on, what the intensity level you're looking for. Just as a rule of thumb, that 2 to 3% with 450 grams, that's plus or minus 20 kilograms of chocolate that it could flavor. And adjust to your desired intensity. Storage is somewhat important, but you're going to store it just like you would chocolate or cocoa butter. Room temperature is fine, dry place away from light. It's cocoa butter, so it's going to melt if you kind of temperature abuse it. So I would just be cognizant of that as you're storing it here, store it where you store your chocolate, and then ship it or transport it to, the customers in the same manner you would do that as well. So you don't want it on the Miami Heat side of the truck.
Could you
Any questions?
the dosage? You said 2 to 3%, but I didn't understand the plus and minus 20 kilo.
So what we're saying is these tubs weigh 450 grams, so depending on whether you use 2 or 3%, if this 450 grams will flavor plus or minus 20 kilograms of chocolate.
Okay.
So just as kind of a quick way to look
All
at
right.
it.
So it's kind of like one of those for 20 kilos, give or take.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that inside the tub? It's just one block, or is it like coins or?
Looks just like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
just like
literally,
easy to spray.
this one you can hear.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Just-
just like the piece that's
You can
inside
pick it
there.
out and chop it, or I just, because of the amount I was using, I just scrape it
Scrape
over
it
with
from top,
a spoon,
spoon.
and it was very easy.
I mean,
For
I
the
can open it
macaron,
if you all
you
want
want
to.
any
but-
No, no.
vanilla or just this?
No, I just used,
Just this?
yes,
Wow.
yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, the flavor is.
For this, she
Mhm.
didn't add any other flavor, just this.
Wow.
Yes.
It's wow.
Oh,
For the
The
So-
vanilla.
yes.
just a regular ganache plus the cocoa butter.
Yeah, I use white chocolate, so I use 200 grams of white chocolate, 10 grams of the fusion, and 100 grams of heavy cream, and a little bit of glucose syrup. That was it.
What chocolate did you use now?
You know what chocolate I
Good.
use.
I'm saving this for last.
Yeah, there's more.
Same here, right?
Same there. So
Good.
for the rum, I added just I think 5 grams of rum because it doesn't have alcohol. If you want to have the alcoholic flavor, I didn't put the I didn't add enough rum for you to have the alcoholic flavor. But I was just making a test, but I think it stills like
Yeah.
It
the
tastes like-
flavor is
Good.
very
I think
it's
I like
there.
the rum.
And I
It
was
tastes
very
like rum.
fan. Yeah,
You
I was
cannot-
very surprised. And with when I'm trying to add alcohol flavor to anything, it's very hard. It's very hard because of course you cannot add too much because it will unbalance the ratios of the recipe.
It breaks
So I
emulsion.
think this is a great option if you want to add that flavor but without adding the alcohol. I think this is
Yeah.
it's very.
It's good.
Yeah,
Can I use
thank
this
you.
for my
Happy you like it.
cocoa butter mask that I put every night?
There you go.
Yeah.
You add a little
I use cocoa butter cream
Like the
or
flavor is
lotion for
because
my
of the-
hands, and when I smell
Yeah,
this,
the flavor is
I actually
because
think, of that,
Maybe
but
work?
this is more expensive
Put a
than my
mask.
Walmart cocoa butter.
Put
My-
it in a gold jar
Look at
and
it.
we sell in the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do the Rader facial.
To coffee?
The Rader
Yes.
fish.
Like for drink? No, I haven't, but I mean, it's gonna be creamy, it's gonna be delicious.
I think you
so-
certainly could float some on top
Yes.
of a coffee for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's fat in coffee, we know that. This is be a cool way to add flavor to the
Or
top.
to cream in the
To the
coffee.
cream on top.
Yeah, yeah, I could see you actually just like a warm spoon into the cocoa butter and then just dropping it into the cup and,
Do it honey.
yep, just like honey. Again, the flavor's gonna bloom out if it's sweeter, so like if you're talking a Cuban coffee and you wanted to do, float some vanilla or a rum flavor to it, it would probably be pretty cool to see. This is an ice cream that Tristan did as well with the vanilla fusion. It's got specs in it. We do have the ground vanilla beans, that 26G10. I think you all get it. I'm not 100% sure.
Paste.
No, it's just ground vanilla
Oh,
beans.
just,
So if you are working with people that are doing, macaroons, one of the key things there is you're trying to avoid what? Moisture.
Yes.
So, to add that vanilla flavor to a ground vanilla beans is a key element in there, so something to consider.
okay.
So you may recognize this beautiful chef.
Aw.
So we've got some influencers. We're really working on making sure that we're bringing on influencers that are passionate about our products. I'm not just bringing on people to say, here's some money, post some things. I really want people that love our product and want to be energetic. So you can tell them why you like it. I don't have to.
Well, as I've been telling, when I think a great part of being a chef is trying to be innovative and work with things and new products when they can approach to me and they offer this beautiful range of products. I was very impressed and I was very excited because it's always exciting to work with a new product and a good quality product that is gonna make your life easier, and it's gonna push you because sometimes you're like, okay, you're feeling comfortable with what you're doing, but I think as chefs we need these challenges that will make us improve our techniques and do make better products.
Yeah.
So yes.
So absolutely. So look for things like this. Follow us on Instagram. You will see more and more posts happening, not just from the U.S. Instagram, but our global Instagram. We've got other chefs and influencers around the world that are supporting the Prova Gourmet brand. So you guys are out there. You're the kind of business we want representing our products out there, and you're in the hotbed of the U.S. We don't have any other distribution down here in Miami. So we're really relying on you guys to help us grow the business.
So we have an exclusive with you now, huh?
Well, you have an exclusive until you don't. At this point, I need to grow sales just like you do. One of the things I would say is we really want to sell on quality, but we're also want to be very competitively priced. And I think Sally can tell you that we gave some really, really good pricing concessions without being even asked. Our intent was to get ahead of the vanilla market, do the right thing, and allow you guys to get out there and win some business on price as well. I dropped my prices over 20%. I need to grow my volume by 10% to compensate for my loss in revenue alone, not margin. So that's why, kind of when we passed on some recommended pricing, and I know there was some pushback that said we want to sell on quality. There's no doubt we want you to sell on quality, but we need your help also helping us sell volume of product to help compensate for that as well. So, if there's opportunities out there, I love the fact you picked up the Fusion. I think you're going to love the US 200 being added to your range. It's things like that that'll help us. I mean,